Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Selena and I like to talk about all things GAPS, anything to do with food, emotions, and really just creating a healthy home and lifestyle inside and out. Today I'm going to be talking about a very controversial topic in the area of health and wellness, and that is butter. I think when it comes to butter, there are three main myths out there that pretty much everybody in our culture right now is believing about butter, and it's this stumbling block that I come into every single time I try to convince people about nutrition and healthy eating and how they can heal themselves naturally. One of the major stumbling blocks I see is when people don't believe that butter is good for you. They think a host of crazy things about it. I just want to kind of debunk those myths, go right at them, and explain why I think butter is amazingly good for you, why I think it needs to be in your diet on a regular basis. And I'll even share what the best kinds of butter are and where you can get the best of the best when it comes to sourcing your butter and finding butter that's really good for you, easy to digest. So let's get into it. I grew up learning that butter was basically the cause of every single horrible disease in your life. It was the cause of heart disease, diabetes, clogged arteries, getting fat. If you were fat, did the person eat too much butter? I would get, like, if I had a little bit of extra butter in my pasta growing up, you know, my dad always being like, don't eat too much butter, you're gonna clog your arteries. All of these kinds of voices in my life, when I'm not really sure where they came from, nobody really knows what's true, and I wanna kind of debunk some of this. So if you search on Google right now, I actually just did this, and you say, is butter good for your health? Does butter clog your arteries? The first thing that will pop up is that yes, butter clogs your arteries. Butter is the kind of fat that is the leading cause of heart condition in the United States. All this mumbo jumbo. Okay, I'm gonna leave a link below where Dr. Becky Plotner goes into this on her blog, and she debunks this myth from a scientific perspective, basically saying that the research out there about heart disease and linking it to fats, animal fats like butter, is completely bogus, and there actually isn't research to back that up. The reality is butter is extremely high in vitamin D, vitamin K2, really good for your teeth, vitamin A, beta carotene, vitamin E, all these really amazing nutrients and fatty acids that are super integral for your healing. They don't want us to know that the healing is in the thing that they're telling us not to eat. There has been a huge anti-butter movement, and I will say it's quite ridiculous when it comes down to it, because every single claim that's been made has been disputed, and for whatever reason our culture has still taken a lot of this to be fact, even though it's been completely written off as false. So you can do your own research, but I'm just kind of here to poke at that thing that culture's been saying and kind of get you to think, like, a lot of people really think that they are eating healthy, and the reality is that they're avoiding some of the things that are the most healing and the most nourishing. Okay, myth number one is that butter clogs your artery. Butter increases your cholesterol, and cholesterol is bad. This is a huge one, and again, it's in Dr. Becky Plotner's article, where basically a heart doctor, found that there was really no correlation between butter and increased heart disease, and a lot of people who had really low fat diets were also having the same kinds of heart disease, and so they basically concluded that that can't actually be the cause of the heart disease. Now, it's a super common thing, like butter clogs arteries, all this stuff, and I would actually go as far as to say that butter is not bad for you at all, that it's actually really good for you. And some of that is because of myth number two, that, you know, throw it out there, is animal fat is bad for you. Now, this is really big with the veganism movement right now, and everybody just likes to say that all animal fats, anything animal, because there are some industrial facilities that every animal product out there is bad and horrible for your body. It's just not true, you guys. It's really not true. And the reality is that animal fats are the most healing thing for your body. The backbone of the GAPS diet, which is actually healing a lot of people. So if you are avoiding animal fats for whatever reason because you've been told that they're really bad for you, I really think that's a myth that needs to go. So the anti-fat movement is huge. Now, the last myth that's out there is that dairy is bad for you. That lactose is bad for you, dairy is bad for you, but as I mentioned in another video, and I will link that below, dairy is only bad for you when it's been altered to the degree that it really no longer is healthy anymore. So dairy in and of itself is not bad for you, but it's when it's pasteurized and homogenized and processed and flavored and additives are added to it and they're not cultured, and we've avoided all these traditional practices, that's when the dairy becomes harder to digest and difficult on our bodies. So keeping a perspective, not usually these blanket statements about health are not true, and the myths that come along with these can be really, really detrimental to our culture, because then people who are trying to heal are left thinking that there's no answers, and a lot of the answers are the things that people have written off. Now, in my personal opinion, I think that the anti-dairy, anti-butter, anti-fat, anti-cholesterol movement should much rather be focused on all the processed foods, sugars, processed carbohydrates, and all the crap that's in our diets nowadays. I think butter is the last thing that's causing all of this. And if you actually go down and do your own research, I think you're gonna find that actually the processed oils and refined and hydrogenized oils that are replacing butter and natural animal fats, the unprocessed natural stuff, is actually what's causing most of the problems, you guys. So don't believe this myth that culture's telling you. Our culture is so sick, you guys. Butter is actually one of the best things you can have in your diet. It's the first thing I will tell people if you're not cooking in butter and you just can't change anything else about your diet, just start cooking in butter, and real butter. And so I encourage you, if you think you have butter at your house right now, go on that ingredient label and make sure that it's actually just the cream. Like, just, even if it's pasteurized, like that it's actually just the cream, because so many butters in our stores right now have not just the cream and the enzymes that culture it and make it into butter, but they also have canola oil in a lot of the butters. So make sure that you're checking your ingredient labels, you guys. Pull it out from your fridge right now, pause this video. Is your butter really butter? Ask yourself that question first. It's my first tip to people who are starting out on healthy eating. Just change what you're cooking in, because that's the easiest thing you can do. If you're not ready to change everything else, don't change everything else, but change what you're cooking in. And sometimes that can make a huge, huge difference. And if you can't tolerate butter because of the lactose, well, find ghee at the store or make it yourself. It is super, super easy. Ghee is just clarified butter. It's just the butter without the lactose. So if you're sensitive to any of these things, that would be my best bet. Okay, and I'm gonna give you a good, better, best on butter. So I will say, if you are just having a lot of trouble sourcing butter and you just want an easy option, thing that I recommend to everybody, and it's technically GAPS approved, is Kerrygold butter. Now, Kerrygold is not 100% grass-fed, and I always prefer that because it will have so many more nutrients than just cows that were fed grains, but those cows were predominantly fed grass. And so if you're looking for a butter that's really just in every single store I've ever seen, honestly, if you're on the run or whatever, get Kerrygold butter. Preferably the unsalted version, because the salt that's in them are not always the best. You want to be able to kind of control some of that. So that was my good option. Now my better option would be to find a fully 100% grass-fed organic butter at the store. So it's a mouthful, but organic, grass-fed, 100% grass-fed, grass-finished butter at the store, no additives and no fillers. That would be my better option. And then my best option would be if you can find a farm. So if you are able to source your butter from a farm where they made it from the cream that was raw and is unpasteurized, that's going to be the best kind of butter, because it's going to have retained all the enzymes and the nutrients and all those beneficial probiotics and things like that. That's going to be your best bet, and it's bonus points if it's cultured. But if you can find butter from a local farm, that's going to be your best option. I hope that's helpful. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have anything to say about butter, I would love to hear it. I know this is a really controversial topic, so leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. But as always, like and subscribe this video. It really helps me as I'm learning how to help people on YouTube. My passion is to walk alongside people as they heal and grow. It inspires me and hopefully brings encouragement to you. Thanks for watching.